Okay, welcome everyone. It's Diana Marchand from Raw Foods Made Simple, and I make healthy eating and living simple for you. And I am starting a video series with interviewing some fabulous, wonderful, talented women that I have the pleasure of being in a coaching group with. And one of them is Maria Davis. Her website is mariaheals.com, so you'll have to check that out. What she does is she's a medical intuitive, and I have been interested in this for so long, and how our emotions, our thoughts and beliefs, everything cause symptoms, physical symptoms in our body. I have experienced it. I know that this is absolutely 100% true. So I've been able to shift some things in energy and gotten rid of like symptoms and problems that I've had for so long. And I know sometimes a headache comes on and I'm actually able to, where I wasn't before, change my energy, do some breathing, and the headache dissipates. So I know, it was something I believed I had to experience for a certain amount of time, and it just wouldn't go away. Now I see that so much of what I was experiencing, it was caused by emotional blocks or something in my energy flow. So that is what Maria is going to talk to us about today, and I know you're going to love this interview, so please watch the whole thing because it's going to be really informative, and I know it's going to speak to you in some way. So welcome, Maria.
Oh, thank you for having me, Diana. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's my hope that people can experience energy shifts with information, because with insight and information we can actually, as you said, shift pain that's happening in our body, because our body is our subconscious. So wherever our pain lands, or discomfort, or functionality, it's to do with our thoughts. So marrying our thoughts, our conscious thoughts, or our subconscious thoughts, that's how they land in the body.
That's so cool.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So cool.
Yeah.
And I wanted to... Oops. Sorry, we're having a lot of doing weird things. Okay. So everybody, if you hear delays or you see delays or Maria freezes a little bit, it is because she's coming from Australia. So she is in Melbourne, Australia. So it's really far away, and sometimes through Skype like this it freezes and there's a delay, so that just to let you know that's what's happening. Okay, sorry Maria for interrupting.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to, because I was born, what, does this really exist? It's like, oh, I need to have some evidence of this. So when I started to look into the subconscious being where does it land in my body? My body is my subconscious. What are you talking about, my body being my subconscious? But if I can tell you a little story, Diana, about when I was training as a medical intuitive, there was 20 people in the room. This is how the universe works. It's amazing. 20 people in the room. Everyone had hip pain.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and we're all studying medical intuition. So we're all hungry for this information about energy and how it lands in our bodies, how we can be the driver, or we can be the author of our own story. So this is an empowerment process as well. So everyone had hip pain. What's hip pain about? Identity.
Oh.
It was so cool, because once we started to tap into who we are, who we're meant to be, within the 6 days, it was 8 days actually, within the 8 days, everyone's hip pain had disappeared.
Wow, isn't that amazing? Oh, that's incredible.
I'm just blown away. It's I had hip pain myself for about 8 years of chronic hip pain. And it's like, whoa, that's too freaky to ignore. And then you go, okay, well, what else can happen? So I work a lot with people with functions, just like a pituitary tumor at the moment. I'm working with someone who needs hip replacements, is very hypermobile, so has lots of laxity, so no real support in their structure. So it's about them being aware of where their thoughts are landing and what's creating that pattern for them. They're actually born with it, so it's something. Oh, wow. It's a lesson when children are born with illness, it's actually a lesson for the parents that the parents have to
Wow.
learn. I know, it's pretty incredible. So that's another topic altogether.
Yeah,
But
that's for sure.
yeah, yeah. So that's they're two. And migraines, that's another one. Migraines is to do with throat chakra. It's about communicating and self-worth. So feeling good about yourself and what you're thinking about it, because the migraine is actually compression of the gala, the skull cap, if you like. I'm trying to think of the anatomical name, but I'll just say the skull
Okay.
cap.
Yeah.
It's just compression into the spinal cord. So it's about holding yourself down, keeping yourself small. So when we start to lift and work from the heart, that we are all one. We're one, aren't we? We're you and
Yes.
I and everyone out there. We all have the same fears. We all have the same loves. We all have these limiting beliefs. The biggest limiting belief is I'm not enough. So where does that land in your body? Well, it could land anywhere, depending on what your circumstances are.
Oh, so right. So that one belief, like what I was thinking in some ways is that a belief lands in a specific area, but no, that's not necessary. Like you said, that limiting belief that a lot of people can have, it can affect each person in a different way.
Absolutely,
Oh,
because
okay.
then what's happened in their lives at different stages. We all have emotional ages and stages, so which repeat. There's a pattern of 13 stages and ages, repeat over 13 years. So there's a lot of information, but there's a lot of dissection of mind, body, and soul to get to the answer. So could be whatever. It could be environmental, could be parenting, it could be belief. You know, who knows where a belief comes from? We just have to figure out what the belief is, and then once we have the insight, wow, it's sort of the neural synapses. It becomes like a brain freeze, and you go, brain synapse. They're getting it. Then it becomes conscious, because for it to become conscious, there's sort of a brain thought process that you really don't know what's happening at the time. And then on reflection, you go, oh, that's when it shifted, when I realized. So self-realization is a big thing in the work.
Right. Yeah, that's what it seems like. So once you're aware, so if something like, so if people come to you, basically they're like, they have a long-standing pain or something, and maybe they've been said, like people have said, nothing's wrong with you, we don't see. I guess they still could come up with something wrong, right? They still could have a diagnosed condition, but it could still have to do with the energy or thoughts and beliefs, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Everyone that comes to me has diagnosed
Okay.
conditions. So autoimmune disease, central nervous system. That could be thyroid is about self love. So the thyroid. There's a lot of thyroid issues in the world now, especially in women, because the thyroid sits here, and it's the conduit from the heart to the head. So if our thoughts aligned with what we love, what we want to give to the world, what our purpose is, if we're not communicating that and having some self-worth, then the thyroid will play up. It'll be your conscious, your subconscious saying, hey, speak your truth. Hey, start to love yourself. Hey, do something for yourself. Where are you communicating? What are you saying about yourself? The other big thing is adrenal fatigue syndrome. That's a big one, and that has to do with kidneys. So the adrenals sit on top of the kidneys, and it makes you very tired, lethargic. It's an overload of that flight or fight scenario, but that's all to do with relationship to self. So come back to your heart chakra. Balance yourself. Start looking after yourself. Start speaking your truth. Start doing things for you. And I know we all have pressure of life and working, but there's really small, abundant thought processes that you can instill in your life without costing you a lot, without taking you out of your norm, without really moving a lot away from where you are now. It's just a thought process.
Yeah, like so for I've had thyroid issues, and I know lots of women have. And so if you have, I mean, sometimes you don't even know, but if you have these, what are some things? So if you go, okay, I've had thyroid issues, what are some things that you should ask yourself, or what some of the things you could, you know what I mean? Like if someone's listening and they say, oh my goodness, I have thyroid issues. What are some of the things they could start asking themselves or doing or thinking about?
Yeah, so what have I done for me today?
Uh,
Every day. What have I done for me today? Have I given myself enough space to breathe? A lot of us don't breathe
mm-hmm.
fully in our rib cage. So what self-love can I give myself today? And it could be as small as looking outside and seeing how green the grass is, or taking those 3 breaths that are going to give you more life for the next hour. It's acknowledging and being aware of your own space and saying, I am worth it.
Okay, interesting. That's cool. Okay, so the realization, if someone has thyroid problems, it's possible that they have a belief about self-worth, right? A
Yeah.
negative belief. So start exploring that.
Yeah, and it could be really deep seated. So I do things like life regression, and we do timeline. There's lots of things involved that can dig the real reason out, and it's really interesting what comes up.
Oh, that is so cool. So you've touched on headaches and thyroid. So also, of course, what a lot of people notice is shoulder, neck pain, stiffness, or pain. So what could be some of the things that are coming up for somebody who has those issues?
So shoulder pain is about burdens of responsibility. So are you carrying everything on your shoulders? What can you change today to alleviate your shoulder pain? Or do you need a massage? Do you need to unlock the shoulder blades to your rib cage? Do you need to create space within that too? So taking inspired action and asking for help, that's the big thing about shoulder pain. Frozen shoulders are really interesting too, because the shoulder freezes over time. That they can't move their
Yeah.
arm past a certain. And what happens is you just get locked in that position in your life. You can't move forward. The burdens are too big. So the shoulder actually locks up to say, hey, you're not paying attention. What's happening? Now, the shoulder unlocks itself after 2 to 3 years, but it's pretty painful in the meantime. So that's there's frozen shoulders really everywhere. But can it unlock? Yes. Are the thoughts responsible? Yes. Can you be shown how to do things that will create the unlocking process? Yes. Can you give it more blood flow and breath? Yes. Can it unlock itself quickly? Yes. I've seen it done. I've done it here in the clinic. It's amazing. It's amazing. You go, did you know you were thinking that? No. Okay.
So people are unaware.
Absolutely. People are unaware. And that's the safety mechanism too, because we know what we know until we know something different. So when you start asking and probing, when I start asking and probing the questions, then you get, the individuals will go, oh, I've never thought of it like that. Can you see your patterns? We can't see our own patterns, Diana. It's even I go to healers. I can't see patterns.
That's the thing. And I think why it's so important is we could read about, well, that if you have this, it could be caused by this. But then also, we're not sure how to work through it, which is a huge thing. I know, just like reading a self-help book, sometimes it's like, well, you read that, but you just can't do it yourself. And so that's why, you know, a professional's like doing business, you know, you just need a coach or something. But so if somebody goes to somebody like you, also you are, because you're intuitive, you may be able to see things or sense things that they never thought of, like you said, didn't realize, was out of their scope of realization, that it may have taken them a few years to even come to, right? So you can shorten the process, basically. Absolutely. And get really clear. Yeah.
Yeah, because once the healing starts from within. Mm-hmm. But when we're searching outside of ourselves, we're going to get a Band-Aid effect. So the symptoms may disappear for a while, but if the thought process is still there, it's going to come back. So that's what I saw time and time again in my practice. I was a Pilates and I did do massage and I worked with a physio and I have done some medical work. So time and time again, I'd see people returning with the same things, with the same symptoms, with the same ailments. And I said to myself, there's got to be something more to that. When I started discovering and experiencing for myself, because I've had some autoimmune disease too, when I've started to experience things for myself, I go, aha, we need to trust, have faith, and know that we have the answer within.
Right. But also, like I just want to state it, we have the answer within, but it is so helpful, because I know I've talked to you a couple of times, it is so helpful to have someone to go to who can sense it. And you know what I mean? Some people, especially I think if you're not used to going within, if you haven't experienced that, you know, you're busy, you're exhausted, you're tired, you've been living up here for so long, kind of lost that touch with your body, like lost touch with just connecting with your body. Then it seems like, like when you say go within, someone could say, what are you I don't understand what that
is. I was the same. I was the same. What? How?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
What? I can't go with you. That makes me laugh, because I was exactly the same. And it was like, really? But when you're shown, like I need to be shown, I need to feel it, I need to do it. And then I think, oh, I can experience this. And yes, I said before, I go to healers. I go to a healer at least once a month, once every 6 weeks for my own healing process, because I'm a human being having a physical experience with thoughts that I don't know about. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So once the thoughts come up, they're subconscious thoughts. Are they of this lifetime? Are they of past life? That's a whole nother subject. But where are the thoughts coming from? I don't know. But it doesn't really matter. It's when you become aware of the thoughts that you can release them. Aha, there's my pattern. Aha, I don't need to hold on to this, and the reasons why you are holding on to it. Because that, you know, pain is an alert system. It's alert, 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 pay attention. Please, please pay attention. This is the body, the subconscious saying, hey, get conscious to this. Hey, you can do something about it. Hey, do you want to do something about it? And yeah, and as I say, as a professional in the business, I need help. I go to someone to clearly define or dig up the thoughts that I don't really want to know about. But once I know, my world just opens up to potential and possibilities.
So what are some of the success stories that you've had, like maybe a couple clients or whatever who came to you suffering from something maybe for years or a long time and just feeling like, something's got to work, and then you were able to get in touch with it and then it was able to clear?
Okay, so I had a professor of here in Melbourne. He's a very senior professor at a university. university. And for 30 years, they came in to see me, and his wife made him come. And because his wife was sick of him having neck pain. And it was just within a couple of sessions it had gone. It was really phenomenal.
And that was neck pain? Okay, so his problem was neck pain, and can you say a little bit about what his issue was, or no, or is it just something like
No, his issue was he's burdened by he was never recognized as a young boy, a young man, for his accomplishments. And then he had a family, he had 8 children. So he was burdened by the responsibility of these 8 children. He was very much in his head too. So his heart was open a little, but he didn't really consciously was aware of it. But he was very much in his head. So his head was always forward. So he was always moving forward in his life. But in fact, he was carrying all of his responsibilities in his neck. So once he realized that, it sort of opened up, and his rib cage, in a postural sense, his rib cage actually became more in alignment with where it should be in space. Wow. Yeah, so it's just opening up to potential. So once you can see those patterns, 30 years of chronic pain, he was in tears when he came in here.
Oh my goodness. And it made that big of a shift for him. That's so good.
Yeah. The other one I want to talk about is probably the pituitary tumor. So she, a young lady of 34, has a pituitary tumor and is being treated. And the pituitary tumor is psychic ability. Okay. So she's very intuitive, but always ignored it. So she's very in the physical plane, didn't want to know about energies, wasn't open to it. So her body created a tumor to say, hey, knock, knock, you have this gift, open it up. So she's opening up the pituitary so she can see more of herself, because it's all about yourself, really. See more of yourself, herself, and the pituitary tumor has
shrunk.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
The other one I want to say, on the weekend I worked with a couple. The woman has cancer, bowel cancer, and the man was in fear that she was going to die. So the husband and wife team. Mm-hmm. I was at a retreat, so I was working with them together, and the fear was actually crushing and creating more of the bowel cancer, because she was worried about her husband, and her husband was fearful that she was going to die. So bowel cancer is about assimilation. So it's about assimilating to your environment, to who you are, what your personality is, standing in your own power. And it's about eliminating what doesn't work for you too. So you can imagine the bowel's job is to eliminate what doesn't work. So, but for her, somehow something had got stuck and she was working on that. But for him, like I only had an hour, I had an hour and a half to work with him. Yeah. For him, he was so much in fear because his dad had passed away when he was 8 of cancer, and his stepdad had passed away when he was 28. So he was 8 and 28. Very, very important years in his life. And she was at peace that she had cancer, and she could through it. But he was creating this fear, and he actually willing to control the outcome. So control it, get better. He was in charge. He was responsible, and his jaw was like really chomped, that jaw of going forward, needing to work control. But she was really relaxed. But what I did, what I worked with them is to open up their heart chakras and their throat chakras. She got her power back so she could speak up and say, this is what I need. He just needed to trust his heart that their connection would bring them through. So no matter what the outcome, my download was that she was going to be fine. But no matter what the outcome, they will be fine. This just the joy, like it was only on the weekends. I'm not sure how they'll go, but just the joy and the experience of each other without that fear present was so transformational.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Fear fear is probably something that can show up in different places for different people.
Yeah. Fear is mostly what causes pain.
Really, eh? Yeah. Wow. So fear of failure, not being good enough, rejection, all of those things. Standing
out, being in front of people, fear of ridicule, fear of being a fraud. There's so many fears out there, but essentially there's probably mainly a category of 4. But the healing happens, Joanna, when we have understanding. When we go back to 0 point on a quantum physics level, it's all about the axes. So it's the 0 point. And when we look at our body and we dissect our body at 0 point, it's our heart.
Oh, right. Interesting. So that means you just mean connecting to your heart.
Yeah.
Faith, trust, love, all of that, getting into that space.
Yeah. And know that the universe is supporting you. It's that, and on a practical level, how do we do that? See the abundance in your life, regardless of wealth, but see the abundance in your life on a daily basis. Have gratitude, do your forgiveness work, fall back in love with yourself, listen to your thoughts. When I had depression, acute depression, and when I couldn't hear my thoughts, I could not hear my thoughts, and they were very deprecating, my thoughts, and most people don't really hear their thoughts either because they're in fear.
So what do you mean they don't hear their thoughts? Like,
well,
if someone's...
they're disconnected from their thoughts. They are thinking frontal lobe rather than the whole thought process. So it's like, okay, so when you don't succeed at something, whether it be get to school on time to pick up the kids, oh, you're a hopeless mother, what do you know? How could you ever be a mother? Blah, blah, blah. Those deprecating thoughts, how often do they become subliminal? And that's what we dig out.
Right.
So, okay, well, what are you really saying about yourself?
Yeah. Okay, so let's just go over a couple other things because this is so great. I think knees are quite a common one for people.
Knees are about choices.
About choices. Interesting. So there may be some choices that they are not making in their life. They're kind of saying, I don't want to do it.
Forced choices, not in alignment with themselves. Yeah. What are knees? Knees are about carrying us forward. They're in alignment with us as a structure. If you don't plant your foot in the right direction, your knee won't go in the right direction. So what is your choice?
Ah, interesting.
Free will. Free will. Knees are about free will.
Free will. Interesting. So cool. What about... I know every once in a while I get really achy palm.
Hands are about receiving.
Okay.
Being able to receive. What are you not being able to receive? So your hands will go, ugh.
It's funny you froze
Stop.
right there.
Receive. Open. Open your, what's your palm? Open it. Receive. Open it. Open to the light.
Okay, cool. Digestion. You might have covered that, but I used to always suffer from really bad digestive issues. Like there's, constipation or the other, right? Obviously, but...
Yeah, so there's a lot involved in that. So you've got stomach. Your stomach is stomaching life? What are you not stomaching? Your digestion. So what's in your life that's not in congruency with your soul? So that'll come up as a stomach issue. So bowel is assimilation. Well, how can you assimilate to your environment? Are you happy in your environment? Even decluttering, Diana, you can declutter and your bowel will work. I bet the other motility is a big issue, you know, constipation. But when you have chronic constipation, what are you not eliminating? What are you holding on to?
Right. What are you holding on to? Yeah, which kind of makes sense. What I thought of it sometimes, I thought, well, maybe, because, you know, I always felt stuck, right? Like I always felt stuck in a situation.
Well, yeah, constipation is stuck.
Yeah. So people who are feeling stuck, so maybe look at, I mean, it's usually often, and we know, right? Because that's for me, I knew that there were things that I wanted to do that I wasn't doing, but I felt at that time, oh, it's hopeless, or I have no choice at this time, right? So I think like sometimes we think, I can't make this big step, so it's hopeless, right? I just am stuck where I am. But we got to realize is that just by, like you said, starting to take action and taking steps towards something can clear things up also.
Yeah, and just that permission to be the writer of your own story, that permission to say that I do have choices, that permission to take your power back. Because in our world, we give our power to every people around us. Yes, you can, you know, the time management is related to your environment and what you need to do, whether the children need to be at school at a particular time, dinner needs to be on the table. Yeah. But what about if we just say, one, you know, reframe. One is, I'm so lucky to have children that I can bring to school. How wonderful I can really connect with my child as I take them to school rather than see them as a burden. So in reality, illness becomes when we have our reality, but our expectations are so far removed from our reality and we can't see the connection, that's when illness comes in.
That says it there. Yeah, that's very cool. I totally get that. Because I've been there. It's like, because I've always had huge expectations for myself, right? And I still do. And so I struggle with that because I know that I could be and should be up here. There's so much I want to do. But because it becomes overwhelming, it's like, it's just too much for me to handle at this moment. I want it, but I feel I can't get it. And so there's that, like you said, that what we see, what we want, but then we feel like we're unable to get there.
Exactly. So what about if we reframe or reverse engineer and see where we've come from to where we are today and the steps we need to take to get to that place? Now, the other cool, beautiful thing about the work is that it's intuitive. So we go, so the processes I teach is, does it feel right or does it feel wrong? Is it good for me or is it not? And the body will tell you whether one decision is better than the other. Because what happens on a really interesting level is your heart opens up to what's true for you.
And you can feel that.
Yes, I teach it on a physical level.
Right, that's cool.
Our body is the barometer of our soul.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Keep ourselves in balance.
So if people want to, how do they go about working with someone like you then?
Oh, well, I have the website, www.mariaheals.com, and I have intuitive readings that you can ask a question and I'll answer the question within 3 days. So I'll give you an answer, whether it be illness or whatever you
Mm-hmm.
need clarity on, or further information. So, and then I work sessional via Skype, and I use whatever healing modalities I need to. It's a very intuitive process. So whatever you need comes. So I have a sessional, I have a couple of packages, mid-range and a high-range package where I work with someone for 2 months so they have a total transformation. So we start here and we do an 180 where you want to be. So how do you get there? Using your intuition. So the idea is to empower you that you know that you're on the right path. And of course, along the way, pain dissolves, energy increases, decision making and clarity is present. The sun shines. You see, you become abundant in your own perspective. And I do this thing about prosperity consciousness, that we all can be prosperous. We just need to be conscious to it.
Right. Good. So it's a whole process, and you kind of take them along the process.
Absolutely.
Right? When it's hard for someone to do it. Like you said, you can't even do yourself, so it's really hard for us to think. Once I think you learn, kind of learn the tools and the process and things, it probably helps them on in the future that they can catch things faster or go through a little process, or hopefully prevent anything from coming back and anything worse from happening, right?
Yeah, because it's mindset. Once mindset changes, the heart, once you're in alignment with heart and mind, then, the world's your oyster. You can do have whatever you need. Is it illness that you need? Probably not. But what is the illness teaching you? What is the lesson? The intensity changes. So when it comes up, when you do have a headache in the future and you've worked with me, you go, I've got a process, or the intensity changes. The headache is never the same. If a hip pain comes in, where am I not being true to my own identity? Okay, the hip pain dissolves. And things like bursitis, chronic hip pain just dissolves. I'm just amazed by the process.
That's really cool. I have an example too. Some days I wake up really congested, right? And I'm just like, oh my God, what is it? What is it? And then I have that Louise Hay book, right, on some of the things like you're talking about. So anyways, I looked it up, and it was like overwhelmed, too many things to do, too many things to, I'm like, I had to look up colds. But anyways, it was just funny because I would not have guessed that. And then once I had the realization, the next day I did some, my little relaxation and breathing at night, and my whatever I do, my little meditative thing, bringing the awareness to that. The next day I woke up and I wasn't congested. It was just like, here I thought it was something in the environment. I thought it was something I was being exposed to at night. And so it was really funny.
Yeah.
It was just an awareness that helped me clear it, right?
Yeah, because it's becoming conscious to what's actually happening in the body. So once you are conscious, you can never go back, because once you know something, you know it, because you know what you do. You know what you know, but you know what it, it's like once you know it, it's like, oh, well, there's the realization. I know that.
Yeah, and then when it comes back, you go,
can't go back. Yeah.
So once it's here again. What am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, it's so cool.
It's overwhelm. Congestion is actually can be grief too.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, because my dad definitely. Yeah, that makes sense too. So that's really cool. Well, do you have anything else you want to add before we?
If there's anyone that I can support out there, my mission is to support as many people as I can. Please feel free. You don't need to be in that pain. You don't need to feel in that disease, because what is disease? It's dis-ease. Mm-hmm. You're living without ease or grace. So, it's like bring it on with ease and grace.
Just revert. That's so nice. And also, it doesn't have to be a disease. It can be somebody who's stumbling with struggle in their life or overwhelm or like stress, like a lot of stress, right? Or feeling like something's not right, what is it? Like some sort of dis-ease, like they're aware of the disease, even though it may not have manifested yet. So that's the perfect time, actually.
Exactly. Absolutely. And that, oh, please, if I can encourage anyone, if you have a feeling, follow your feeling, follow your gut. It's really important because your gut is your third brain.
Mm-hmm.
It's really your intuition. Just follow it. If you think there's something, check it out, because it's, it may not be anything, but our intuition tells us lots. We just don't listen.
That's right. It's always talking to us, right? We're just unaware of what it's saying. So we have to be able to tune in. Really quickly, though, how can we, because when you said that, it made me think what they would probably ask. So they may say, how do I know what it means? So if I have a disease in my stomach, or if something's, how do I know what it means? Like, how do you go, do you just say, well, I'm feeling really, my stomach's really bothering me, upset today, but I don't know why?
Well, yeah, and they most likely don't know why, because when pain comes, fear comes as well. So the fear masks any creativity or inspiration or conduit to your intuition. So fear will mask it. So you can look up someone like Louise Hay. You can look that up. They've got apps and that. You can speak to your doctor and have every pathology ticked off, or you can work with an intuitive healer or a medical intuitive that
and really figure it out,
really
like, like really,
so that it goes away forever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, get it figured out now, because that does lead to the actual disease. And that's what people don't realize, is if you don't catch it early, it will lead to disease. And the thing is that, when that happens, people are willing to pay anything, do anything, whatever, but they always wait till it's too late.
And then there's such, yeah, exactly. And it is such a shame, because things can be done really early, and it's all you need is that trigger. You go, okay, what am I being shown? How am I being shown it? And what can I do about it? So inspired action is the way forward.
Yeah.
So even breathe.
Yeah.
Please breathe, because people don't breathe.
So true.
Breathe.
So true.
Seek. And if you are going to work with someone, just make sure, whether it be in the medical field, anyone you work with, just resonate with them. If they're you will have a connection on some level.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us. I appreciate it so much, for taking time and coming to us from so far away, Australia. So it was a real pleasure to have you speak. And so her website is, I'll have it on the video here. It is mariaheals.com, and she does have many resources for you, so check it out. She's a fantastic person, and she's given me some huge insights, so I highly suggest it. Okay, well, we're gonna sign off, Maria. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank
you. And I just hope that everyone just drops in their heart and takes a deep breath to integrate, because we are all worth it in the end. So.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.